Hello to all of my dreamers out there. I am the Channeling Goddess. If you are new to my channel, hi, hello. If you are returning back, welcome back. So today we are going to be doing a dream interpretation reading. Like always, I do have a couple of disclaimers. So disclaimer number one, these are my interpretations of my own dreams, meaning that while you may receive a different message, the message that I am receiving or the message that I am providing today is the one that Spirit has given me, right? The purpose of these readings is so that you can get something different. Spirit may have a completely different message for you than it had for me, and you may feel something different when listening to this reading than I felt. So if that is what's happening, you are using this particular video correctly. So thumbs up to you. Disclaimer 2, if you are looking for a specific message, if you are looking for confirmation, if you are looking for guidance from Spirit by listening to this dream interpretation reading, it is important that you tap into your own intuition, right? We are our own sovereign being. So it is important that you do that. The way that I like to do this is by either putting my feet in the grass, bare grass, love it, or I like to take some mindful deep breaths, and for me, I normally do 3. So I inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 3, and exhale for 5 to 6 seconds. This just helps me get more in tune with my own intuition and helps me to tap into any messages that I may be trying to receive from Spirit, okay? So hopefully this will help you in getting the messages that you need to receive from Spirit at this time, okay? So before we get started, make sure that you pause the video, take your mindful deep breaths, or do whatever it is that you need to ground or to tap into your own intuition. I would also say get your beverage or snack of choice. This one is not as long as some of the other ones. It's pretty short, but we will get started. So go ahead and get your, like I said, go ahead and get your beverage, your snack, whatever it is that you need, and we will get started with the dream interpretation. Okay, now before we get started, I do want to give a little small message that's coming through, and I just saw 222. Spirit is saying oftentimes we have the answer before the problem. And it came up specifically because there are 2 things that are mentioned in this particular dream that was also mentioned today, either by myself or by somebody that's around me, or it was part of another dream. So Spirit is just giving confirmation that for some of us in here, you are asking a question, but apparently the answer has already been given to you, okay? So that's just a little small message. We'll get started with the reading, okay? It says, in my dream, my mom and I are standing in the backyard, and I see a burgundy helicopter that has no logo in the sky. I call my mom's name and tell her that the plane looks private, but is also tilting sideways, which worries me or scares me. Then it seems to come down right as I look up again, and I call out to my mom to get her attention because it looks like it's going to land in our backyard. However, when it does land, it is considerably smaller, like the size of a 3D puzzle when it's all put together. Apparently, it's being flown by a remote control. Then I see the young lady who flew it when she comes to collect it and go back to trying to fly it. My mom yells at me, telling me I got her attention too late. I tell her I called her name 3 times, but really it was only 2. She backs off, then she starts talking about the lady with the plane, saying she is naked. I look at the woman and she's not naked. In fact, she's fully clothed, and she has a long, or adds a long blue and white decorative scarf to her waist. The young lady's clothes are tight, but that's it. At first, I think she is talking about the parody of that I seen of another creator, because I don't want to say her name, doing a sketch of another famous person, and that person is naked in the sketch. At a certain point, I didn't care. There was 2 other ladies in the backyard. Then we went in and they seemed like visitors. There was a young woman with them and she ran herself a bath. I asked if she needed help, but she didn't. I went and logged on and started working, okay? So let's go back to the beginning of this. So In the beginning of this dream, I am looking up in the sky, right? I'm in my backyard looking up in the sky, and I see a plane that is burgundy, and it has no logo on it. So think of like, like sometimes police cars when they're driving, the ones who are like undercover, they have no logo. That's like, they have no logo. They're just in like what we would call a civilian car. That's what this helicopter looked like. And when I called my mom's name, I was trying to tell her like the plane looks private, but it's also, I noticed that it's tilting sideways, right? And that worries me, right? So from where my viewpoint, it looks like an actual like real plane, right? Because it's not until it hits the ground that I realize that it's actually smaller than I anticipate. Spirit is saying to me sometimes the problems that we have, they seem bigger than what they really are, right? It is not until sometimes they're staring us in the face that we realize it's not as bad as we thought they were. Because in this particular dream, that I was worried that helicopter was going to crash into our backyard. I'm trying to get my mom's attention so she can see it, but when it lands, it's like a 3D puzzle, right? So think of the size of 3D puzzles are so cool, but think of the size of a 3D puzzle. That's how small this plane was. But from my vantage point on the ground and its vantage point in the sky, it looked completely huge. It looked like an actual plane, so the size of an actual plane, right? And this is just Spirit saying that our problems are not as big as we make them. They are not as scary as we assume that they are, but sometimes we're looking through a pair of rose-colored glasses, or we have a skewed vision of what we're actually looking at. So because of that, our perception of danger is worse, right? And a lot of times when things are actually in our face and we're actually going through them, they're not as bad as we anticipate them being. And I think for me specifically, this is because there is a situation that's happening right now in my own personal life where I'm like, I'm worried, okay? I'm a little bit worried about how it's going to turn out. And Spirit is saying I'm making a mountain out of a molehill, right? That while yes, it is still a plane, yes, it is still crashing in my backyard, it is not insurmountable. Like, it is not a problem that I cannot solve, right? And in this dream, I didn't even need to solve the problem, right? The young lady who was flying the plane, she came and got the plane herself, right? It wasn't something that I needed to get up out of my yard, and I didn't need to pick up the plane and like figure out who flew it. The person came and got their own plane, right? So it was almost like the problem turned into nothing. And I think Spirit is telling me that I am overthinking something because it's so far out and it's so far out of my control, right? I can only look at it from one perspective, but when it's actually, in my face and I'm experiencing it, it is not going to be as difficult as I thought it was going to be, or as scary as I assumed that it would be. Okay. My mom tells me, my mom yells at me and tells me that I got her attention too late. I called her name 3 times, but really it was only 2. Then she backs off. I think for this, Spirit is saying that I should be honest about even small things, even as something as simple as saying, hey, I called you 3 times. Something as simple, like just saying I called you 2 times, because that really was the only time I called her. I only called her twice to get her attention. Spirit is telling me to be more honest with myself and be more honest with those around me. Don't be ashamed of the things that I have to do or the places I've been called to, because I will have to go like almost head first is what I'm getting, like feet first, head first, just going into situations. And the more I'm honest with myself, the more I'm honest with those around me, the more I can actually get help. Okay. Then my mom looks at the woman and says she's naked. And when I looked at the woman, she's fully clothed. She's also putting on an additional article of clothing. So it is a blue and white decorative scarf that she's putting on her waist, right? I think for me, Spirit is trying to tell me that everyone has different viewpoints of what they're seeing, right? So I can go outside and then you can go outside, and let's say you turn left and I turn right, right? I turned right and I saw an airplane. You turned left and you saw a helicopter, right? But we come back in and we're telling people what we saw. And I'm saying, no, it's a plane. And you're like, no, it was a helicopter. And I think Spirit is saying that sometimes we need to be more understanding of other people's perspective, because not everyone will see things the way that we see them. Also, I think Spirit is saying that we see what we choose to see, right? Even the woman who was naked, my mother could have been seeing her spiritually naked, right? And I'm looking at someone who's fully clothed. And I also think this is a sign for Spirit is telling me to look with my third eye and not my physical eye, right? Because a lot of times when we're looking at things with our physical eyes, we're only seeing part of the story, right? We're not seeing the depth and the truth of what's actually happening. So I think that's also like, so this message feels twofold to me. Okay. Then later on there were like two women in the backyard, and they went in and they seemed like visitors. I feel like Spirit is saying that there is going to be some visitors that are going to be coming into my life. And I, like in this particular one, the young woman wanted to come in and she wanted to give a bath, and I asked her if she needed any help. And she said no, and I went to work. I think for me, Spirit is also telling me that there will be people that will come into my life who don't necessarily need me to do anything physically. And I just saw 11:11. They don't need me to do anything physically. They just need to be in my presence. They need to be able to feel that they can come and relax and be themselves. Because think about taking a bath in someone else's house. That's very vulnerable, right? You're getting completely naked. You're using their water, their shower, their towels, right? There is a vulnerability there. And I think Spirit is warning me that there will be times where people will need to visit me, maybe not even physically, but mentally, like in my dreams as well, where they will need to visit me and feel more, be allowed to feel vulnerable and to quote unquote like let their hair down and be more comfortable with themselves. Okay, so I think overall this dream is kind of in line with what I'm dealing with right now, which is crazy because let me see. I had this dream actually this time last year. Actually, it was a little bit earlier. Actually, it was in March. I had this dream March of last year. So for it to have meaning now, like specific meaning to what I'm going through, like literally what happened prior to me turning on this camera, for me to get that information while I'm doing this reading, because this one specifically, this is what I normally do. So my process is, and I think maybe someone needs to know this, my process when I'm choosing a reading, or not a reading, but when I'm choosing a dream, I literally just take the book and I like do this, right? And I just say, Spirit, stop me where, like, help me choose the right dream for any messages that I need to hear right now and that the collective might need to hear. And what I'm doing is I read it prior to me turning on the camera, just to make sure it makes sense to me. Because sometimes I'm writing and I'm half asleep, so some of the words don't make sense. So I have to like try and figure out what I meant by reading the entire sentence or the last two sentences. And a lot of times I don't have an interpretation until I turn on the camera, right? It is not until I'm actually speaking that the interpretation of the dream is coming to me. So when you're hearing it, we're both hearing it for the first time. So for this this dream interpretation to be so synchronistic to what I'm going through right now, it's just always, and I always look for confirmation. And I'm so grateful that Spirit gives that confirmation to me when I need it, right? Because sometimes we need a little extra confirmation. Like we feel certain things in our spirit, but sometimes we need a little extra confirmation. Okay. So we're going to pull a couple of cards. I want to pull from the Dream Shamanic. I think it's the Shamanic Dream Oracle deck. So it's this one. And I'm also going to read from the book. I am like deeply in love with these cards. I just recently got them, but I love these cards so much. So we're going to shuffle just to see if there's any additional messages that Spirit has for us, especially for me, regarding this dream. Okay. That was quick. We have adaptability. So it says Woodwives, and this is the card 64. Spirit, can we get one more card, please? That is quick. We have Feast of Plenty, Choices and Their Consequences. Okay. And then the bottom deck energy is Lost Compass, Getting Back to Integrity. And I'm going to read these out of the book. Okay. So it says, Woodwives, adaptability, strong roots, growth. The woodwives dance in your dreams as a reminder to be grounded no matter what life offers you. You need to know who you are, what you'll tolerate, what you've learned to date, and what boundaries to set so you feel good about yourself. Life is going to offer you something extraordinary now, and in order to learn and receive its blessings, you must remember that being grounded gives you more freedom, not less, right? So, like, understanding that what I'm looking at, because I feel like if I had been more grounded in that dream, I would have been able to understand that the problem was not as big as I assumed it was, right? And it wasn't until like it was like in my face that I really got, okay, this is not as bad as I thought it was, okay? It says, you have everything you need. You have all it takes to do this right now. If you also keep reminding yourself to be flexible, you will be amazed by how well things play out for you. And see, and I'm going to read this again because it's so synchronistic to what's happening in my life right now. It says, you have everything you need. You have all it takes to do this right now. Like, in my personal life right now, there is something that I need to get done, and I'm worried that I won't be able to do it, right? Because I'm thinking like, oh, like in my actual like mind's eye or in my hands, I don't have what I think I need to have in order to do this thing. And that dream was just basically saying the answer has already been given to you before the problem, which means I already have the answer to this particular issue that's going on. And for this to come out in a book where it says you have everything you need, you have all it takes to do this right now, that is just so synchronistic to what I'm going through right now. Okay, it says, if you also keep reminding yourself to be flexible, you will be amazed by how well things play out for you. The woodwives are both wisdom and keepers and students of the new world, as these forest spirits have an uncanny ability to adapt to changing circumstances and always find the perfect way to grow and expand. They represent what you already know how to do. Yep, it's already there, right? The answer is already there. And that's, wow, now it's coming. I realize why that message is coming through now. Before I turned on the camera, or in the middle of me getting ready to read the dream, I heard you already have the answer before the problem. So for that to come out in the reading and in these cards is so synchronistic. So it's definitely a message here for me that the answer is already here. I just don't see it yet. Okay. It says, they represent what you already know how to do. Learn, be in the beginner's mind, let go of your rigid notions of how things should be, and be present to what is right now, unencumbered by your projections. Is there a storm brewing because things need to change? No worries, nothing can uproot you now, and it will pass. You will dance with nature and move with it all. Perhaps you're being given an opportunity to take a chance on something new, and you're not sure how far you can go without losing your footing. Have no fear, for when you remember your roots, your integrity, your authentic self, you can stretch yourself beyond the invisible line you drew. Go for it. You will be glad you did. Yeah. Spirit is just saying, don't let my fear hold me back from doing this. Yes, it doesn't look like I have all the answers right now, but I have more than the answers, right? I have the actual way to solve this issue before the problem even took place, okay? So for some of you, this may just be confirmation for you that you just need to adapt, right? You need to understand that while things don't look the way that you assume that they would look or going the way that you thought that they would go, you just need to adapt, right? Adaptability is going to be key here. Learning to go with the flow, learning to understand that there are more than, the options that we assume, being more adaptable and being willing to see things from a different perspective, okay? So then we have card 20, which is Feast of Plenty, choices and their consequences. So it says Feast of Plenty, options, choice and their consequences, life's blessings. It says a great feast is laid out before you and requires you to choose. What will satisfy your hunger? Something new and unconventional, which its potential for bitter or savory qualities, or something you already know you love. You are faced with a plethora of options right now, and while they may seem to be an extraordinary thing, too many choices can throw you off balance. You might be worried that once you commit, you won't be able to turn back or refuse to confront the consequences of that decision. Yes, this is very synchronistic with this dream, but also like really with what's going on in my life. So this is amazing. It says, The most important thing to realize is that the Feast of Offerings is your experience. No amount of overanalyzing or strategizing will help you make the right choice now. Don't debate the right or wrongness. Instead, just choose. In the choosing is the seed of experience, and that is what is necessary now. Sour, bitter, sweet, savory. What matters is relishing the experience until you digest all that your choice is offering you right now. Only one warning: avoid the same choice if it keeps you hungry. If something doesn't feel good or does not bring you what is seemingly promised, do not choose that again. Yes, this is wow. Literally, I I don't want to put my business out here, but when I say that this is like exactly what I'm going through, the choice to choose something that I've already done in the past that I know that did not work, and being like almost being like cautious with myself and saying, well, maybe it'll work this time, or maybe I can get something out of it different this time. And Spirit is reminding me, like, you've already tried this, it didn't feel good, you were left hungry, you were left thirsty after this situation, and we're asking you to like make a choice, right? If you're gonna do this, make a choice. Okay. And it says, where is it? It says the experience will only repeat itself and you will have more than a bad taste in your mouth. The feast is yours to enjoy. You can always go back for more when you're hungry again. For life blessings are ever available to you and calling your name. Yeah. So it's, to me, I don't know if this is something someone else needs to hear, but you need to choose, right? The blessing is in the choosing. The blessing is in making the decision, right? And even sometimes we make a decision and then we're like, well, if it doesn't work out this way, then I can do something else. If it doesn't work out this way, I can do something else. And for me, I know for a fact, Spirit is telling me, make a decision. Don't say, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. No, make a decision. And then, Spirit the blessings will come about because of it. Because the decision that I'm trying to make, it is literally between being hungry or fulfilling something new, stepping into something new that's unknown, right? And the unknown can be very scary sometimes, right? We don't know what's happening. We don't know where we're going. We don't know how it's going to turn out. So it can be very scary. And Spirit is saying, just make a choice. Like literally just make a choice. Okay. So then we have card 35, which says lost compass. It says getting back to integrity, finding the way home, trusting your intuition. Wow. When the lost compass appears, it is a sign that you need to find your way back home, back to your source and center, relying on your intuition to arrive there. Be wary of the signs telling you to turn here and there, or to avoid this or that person or situation, because the outward indications are not reliable right now. Be careful not to believe all the advice you are receiving. Rely instead on your innate sense of direction and guidance, and use your honing instincts to lead you true. Yeah, because like I know the situation that I'm dealing with right now, I've already done this, right? I've done it before. I've seen how it turned out, right? And I know what's coming, right? And I can feel it. And the Spirit is saying, trust your intuition, right? You're being led down this path because it's almost like Spirit is giving you a chance. Like, do you want to go back? If you want to go back and do this, you can go back and do this again. You'll just keep repeating this lesson over and over again. Okay. It says the lost compass has come to show you that you need to find new counselors. You are not getting the mentoring that you need for your success. Who is that person you are looking up to as a model or role model for what it means to be a woman or man? Trash that idea. Tear up the picture you carry in your mind. You are meant to be you, not the best copy of your dearest friend. This is beautiful. Make this your mantra. Love me or leave me. The lost compass is a blessing in disguise. Yeah, blessings. It's a blessing in disguise because you sometimes have to lose your bearings and find yourself afresh to discover a new course. Yes, this is so synchronistic. It almost makes me want to cry. Like, it's so synchronistic to what I'm dealing with, and specifically about this dream. And also about another dream that I had that gave me confirmation about the steps that I need to take. It says, true north never changes. So reset your way to your heart compass and trust your deepest feelings, even when others do not support them. Remember that you are not lost. You simply do not know where you are going right now. Lost is a state of mind. Not knowing where you are going is an opportunity to find a way into a new path. Yeah. So it's like, for me, Spirit is saying that, you know, this new path that I'm going on, right? While there may be some unknowns, right? I'm looking, you know, I'm from on the ground looking up in the sky, right? There are some unknowns there because I'm only seeing through a specific rose colored glass, right? I can't see everything right now. And Spirit is saying sometimes it's not meant for you to see everything right now. You're meant to see only what you're meant to see, okay? And I think sometimes and me personally, I can definitely relate to this. I love a certain level of control, right? I want to know what's going to happen. I want to know how this is going to turn out, especially when you have more than just yourself that you're dealing with. You want to know how things are going to turn out. You want to know if you're going to be okay, if your family is going to be okay. And Spirit is telling me that you're going to be more than fine. You just have to make a choice, right? Make a choice, stick to it. Even if you make a choice and you stick to it and then something happens and then you're like, oh my God, maybe I can go backwards. Spirit is saying, no, stick to the choices that you have made, because that is where you're going to find your new path. That is where you're going to find your new beginning. So I'm going to, I'm letting you all know, hold me accountable. I am going to trust Spirit down this path because I know that this is the right path. Even if it's scary and there's so much unknown that is attached to this path, I know it's the right path, okay? Let's get a couple of more cards to see if Spirit has any additional messages for us. Okay, so we have the guide, yes. Inheritance, correction, yes. Spirit is definitely guiding right now. Spirit is definitely guiding me. Can I get one other card, please, Spirit? And I actually saw that card when I was shuffling earlier to pull some, because I always shuffle the cards before I get on, you know, and say my little words. And then we have the witch. So it says experimentation, rebellion. Yes, because what I'm trying to do is especially for me, is very experimental. It's something I've never done before. And then the bottom deck energy is the botanist, parenthood, legacy. Yeah. And I feel like for me, this is Spirit telling me that by me making this transition, regardless of how it feels right now, there is a legacy attached to this for my children, not just for me. Like, this is not just going to be beneficial to me. It's also going to be beneficial to my children as well. But look, I didn't even realize inheritance is here. Spirit is also, I feel like Spirit is telling me I'm going to leave an inheritance to my children as well. But I need to be guided down this path. And sometimes you have to make the scary decisions now so that you can live the 10 of cups later, right? And the Spirit is saying that this is very experimental. It may be even rebellious against what I'm used to and what I know. Going down this path is very different. But Spirit is also reminding me that it's only scary because I cannot control the outcome. It's only scary because I'm assuming that this issue or this problem that I see is so huge and so big and I can't control it. And that's the scariest part, right? I'm going to pull from the Dreams of Gaia tarot deck. Now, I don't use this like a traditional tarot deck because to me, I go more with the imagery of the cards, what it feels like to me, but I will call out what the actual tarot card meaning might be, okay? Spirit, can I get 2 cards, please, from this deck, please? Any additional messages that you might have for us at this time? Okay, I believe this is the 9 of Pentacles. That's what it looks like to me. We're gonna go with it. Okay, and then we have emotions. I think this might be judgment. I'm not sure. Yeah, this could be judgment. Not sure. Okay, so, and then the bottom deck energy. This is the 8 of air. So this would be the 8 of swords. Yeah, this is the 8 of swords. Okay, so this is a brand new deck, so I'm getting used to it. But for me, and this is crazy that this eye is here because I think I talked about this earlier. Spirit is asking me to look more with my third eye versus my actual eye. So for this to come out is just confirmation for me. But also for this to be the 9 of Pentacles, Spirit is also telling me that things are going to be fine, right? I've worked hard. I've put in, you know, all the hard work. My hard work is now paying off, right? There are blessings coming for me, and this may be for you as well. Like even her holding out this, Spirit is saying that there's transformation, because you see this butterfly here. It almost looks like she's giving me the butterfly. And then I also want you to know that notice there's a snake here, right? So there's transformation coming for me, but it is a gift, right? The way she's holding this cup to me, it feels like this is a gift that Spirit is giving me. And I you know, I'm going to definitely accept this gift. I'm not going to, you know, not accept something that Spirit gives to me. Some of you might be a Libra. This is in my chart as well. I don't know why this is making me think of like the scales, but even here, right, I think Spirit is saying that I'm afraid, right? There's a lot of fear here because I don't understand the beauty of what's happening, right? I don't understand the beauty of what's coming toward me. And it's because I can't see it, right? I cannot see it. And look, there's a butterfly here. So there's definitely transformation coming for me. Like I've been knowing this for like months, right? That transformation is coming, but it's just Spirit continues to give me confirmation about it. But I'm also noticing like there's fear there, right? And Spirit is saying I can transform this fear into something beautiful. This also makes me think of like the Lover's card. I know it's not the Lover's card, but it makes me think of the Lover's card because of the duality in this card as well. Because these are, to me, these look like the same people. One is in fear and the other is walking in the light of what it, you know, what is actually coming. And the Spirit is allowing me to say, okay, allowing me to make a choice, right? Do you want to cower in fear, or do you want to walk with your head held high? And I can tell you, I'm definitely choosing to walk with my head held high. And then I believe, yeah, this is the 8 of Swords. Yeah, 5, 6. Yeah, this is the 8 of Swords. And I feel like Spirit is giving me the opportunity. Like you can see it here. And then look right here. That third eye again is coming out as well. Spirit is giving me the opportunity. I can walk with my head held down, or I can walk with my head held high and go forward, you know, and release myself from this. Because look at how in one hand that the sword is pointed one way and the other is pointed down, and it's like this man's hand is bleeding. Spirit is telling me that I have a choice to make. Like I can choose how I want to go through this particular change. I'm going through it anyway, right? There is no stopping it, but I get to choose if I go through it, you know, easily and more in control, right? And not saying that I understand the outcome, but more in control of my own emotions and understanding that what will be, or do I want to go in fighting, right? And this is what happens when you fight, okay? I do want to get one last card. Let's get one last card. Any additional last message for us, Spirit, about this dream interpretation? Let's see what we get. Yeah, the third eye thing is really coming through strong for me. It came through in another reading that I actually got from another reader. So for it to come out in these cards is really synchronistic. And then we have ponder, right? And then the bottom deck energy is forgive. Yeah, I feel like Spirit is asking me to forgive myself, because sometimes I think to myself, well, I tried to move in the past, or I tried to do this in the past, or I tried to move on and I tried to let things go and I didn't let them go. And Spirit is telling me to forgive myself. But also something about this ponder card makes me think of like pondering the wonder of what could be, pondering the wonder of like the unknown and how beautiful things could be. And I feel like for me, I want to be in that space where I can see the beauty, even if I cannot see the exact outcome, even if I can't see how it's going to turn out. The beauty is there, and Spirit is asking me to ponder on that. Okay, so I just saw 3, 3, 3, 3. So it's definitely confirmation as well. But this is all of the messages that I have today in regards to this particular dream interpretation. Thank you so much for sticking it out with me today, and allowing me to give you, insights into my own dreams. And I hope you found a message that's meant for you. And I will see you next time in the next video. Bye.